Hello and welcome to this ETS Professional and KNX Demonstration webinar. So what I try to do here in this webinar is to, well, first of all, let's say there are two parts here. So I will first present a few slides in which I'll explain to you theoretically actually how to create let's say basic KNX functions in a KNX installation, and then I will in a second part demonstrate that with ETS. So okay, let's start with the first part. So here is the slide about switching. So that's the most basic function, and for that I'll need minimal two devices which where each device minimal has one object, this object being a 1-bit object actually. So here are the two devices, a 1-volt push button, the abbreviations are also on the slide, so PB is push button, and switching activator. So obviously in order to make this work, we need to have these objects linked together by means of one group address 1, which indeed will serve, let's say, the purpose of exchanging on-off information, so 1-bit information. So I guess this is quite clear, and actually all the rest is built on this or based on this principle. So also dimming indeed is based on this same principle. So we need devices with objects. So here a 1-volt push button, however this time with two objects. So again, minimal, this is the minimal setup, and a 1-volt dimming activator also having again minimal two objects. One set of objects is again linked by means of a group address 1, also here in order to exchange switching information, to exchange 1-bit information between the two devices. And another set of objects will then exchange via group address 2 relative dimming or control dimming information, which has a length of 4-bit. Dimming is, by the way, so this very function here is what I will also illustrate with ETS later on. So I will also use there these two types of objects, so 1-bit and 4-bit. Blinds, the next function is again two devices, also two objects, where one set again is linked via group address 1, in order to exchange step-stop information, which is also which has a length of 1-bit. And the other set is linked via group address 2 in order to exchange information related to move up, down of the blinds. And this is also 1-bit information. Also this I will demonstrate in the second part. Then another function is room temperature control, also abbreviated as RTC. Maybe you have seen it somewhere. So also the device actually is here, right? So this RTC has two objects. I also need a 1-volt push button and a 1-volt SV, which stands for switching valve. So what are the links here? Well, first of all, the first set or the first couple, if you want, of objects, so linked by means of a group address 1, in this case, yellow. So this first link is between the push button and the RTC. And why is this required? Well, that is to switch this RTC from day to night mode or vice versa, of course. This is 1-bit information. So this, we could also say comfort mode is maybe an, how to say, a synonym that is definitely valid here. So that means you actually just switch the RTC into comfort mode because you are at home, or yeah, it's cold in the room, or temperature is not yeah, comfortable. So you switch it on, you make it active. Well, actually quite simple actually. And then the other link is between, well, obviously the RTC and the one-fold switching valve, and this is to exchange switching information. Indeed, whenever heat, in this case, would be required, indeed, in order to reach that temperature, which is set as being the comfort, the temperature that feels as being comfortable. Well, in order to reach that temperature, we obviously have to add heat to the room, and that's what we obviously will get when we manipulate this switching valve, which again is manipulated via this RTC, via the room temperature control device. Also, this I will demonstrate in the second part. Okay, then about ETS. So first, some before I go into the second part, so the demonstration. First, a few things about ETS, so the actual configuration steps. So what is the first configuration step when you want to realize functions in a KNX installation? Well, you need to set up first the individual addresses of the devices, and by doing so, you actually create the topology structure of that KNX installation. Because the work, or the result of that work, of this step, is that all devices of the installation have a unique network identification. Once you have that, you can go to the second step, that is to set up the individual device functionality, and you can do that by configuring the parameters, the parameters of all these devices. So, well, in order to explain, maybe easiest way is by an example. So let's say the device in question that we want to configure is a two-fold push button. So there is a left and right rocker. Well, then we can define via the parameters of this device what these rockers will do. Will they exchange on-off information? Will they control blinds? Will they be used for dimming? So we need to define that. And the result of this is that the device will have on board, so in the ETS project, all required group objects, right? Because if it's on-off, or if it's dimming, or if it's blinds, well, this will indeed change the set of group objects that will be available, as we have just seen before in the overview. Example given for dimming, we need example given a 4-bit object. Okay, then after step 2, we can set up the actual functions, and we do that by assigning the group addresses to the group objects that we actually prepared, so to say, that we made available in step 2. And the result is that the group objects are linked together as required. So again, also here, example dimming, in order to have a dimming function, you at least would need 2 links in order to have it properly working. Okay, so that's it for part 1. So that was quite short. It doesn't need to be longer also, I guess. And I'll just, yes, okay. I'll just set up for you the, so I'll set up for you ETS. So here it is. And the installation that goes with that, that's here on my desktop. So I will first start with the dimming activator. So here DA, I just opened that project. And I have here on the desktop the installation that represents this. And as you can see, this is actually software. So it's a virtual installation, as I also indicate here in the title bar. It is a virtual installation, but it definitely behaves like a physical one. So in other words, this is for me the ideal tool, the ideal software for such webinars. So okay, let's have a look at the ETS project here. So the ETS project that I have prepared. So I have added to the so in the topology structure of the ETS project the 3 devices that I need here. So what do I need actually? Well, an activator, so a binds activator, and a sensor, so a push button. If I now push here, click here, or click here, nothing happens. This is quite normal because these devices are not programmed yet. So let's have a look at the configuration of the devices. So the dimming activator, well, we have here, as you can see here in the overview of the objects, they are indeed not linked to any group address yet. So neither the switching object, neither nor the dimming object. There are 2 types of push buttons. The one that has actually a left and a right rocker, so here, left, right, with that, well, both of these objects are 1-bit objects, and actually 1-bit objects, sorry, and actually I don't need this push button here. I will just focus on this one, the push button with the horizontal rockers actually, because here I have a switching and a dimming object. So, okay, obviously what we need to do is to link these objects together and then build up the links that we need. So I will illustrate to you how to do that. It's actually quite easy. We just need to select the devices in question. So I'll use the dimming activator and the push button with the horizontal rockers, and then I see indeed for both devices the objects that are available. So obviously what I need to do is to link the switching objects together. If I would try to link, example given, the switching object of the dimming activator with the switching of the dimming activator with the dimming of the push button, then ETS will refuse that. I could also just illustrate that, then you have seen that as well. Why not? Can't harm. So if I would try to link this with a group address, a new one. Okay, this one already exists, so I'll just take another one. Or maybe in order not to have that problem, sorry, I'll how to say, I'm taking it a bit too far maybe now, but anyway, it's quickly solved. So the group addresses are gone, so that I'm released of these group addresses. So again, back to where I was. So switching with dimming based on a new object, group address, 1, ETS will simply refuse. As you see here, the group addresses, the group address so-and-so cannot be linked with the group object so-and-so because of the object size that differs. Okay. So let's do it properly then. Switching with switching, link it with, object group address 1 has been created, so but I will just use it. And now both are linked. So I could maybe as illustration show you what the effect of this will be. So what I need to do is to program the devices. So download, a full download for this device. So full download. A full download means that so maybe I can also show that. Yeah, not anymore. It's too late. But okay, I will explain you later. So I'm doing a full download because of the fact that the individual address has not been programmed yet. So therefore, I need to put the device in programming mode. How do I do that? Well, simply by switching on or clicking the programming programming button indeed. So to put it in programming mode, and well, I do that by clicking it, and then it turns red, and ETS will then set the individual address. Once this is done, it switches off the LED. ETS does that actually, and then ETS programs the rest of the configuration, which is the application program. So from the context menu, from download, we can see full download indeed, a partial download, that would be any extra modification that we make because we have the base configuration already there, so we only need to do it partially. A full download, so includes the download of the individual address and the download of the application. So you could do that also separately. First download, maybe I'll just show that to you. So I just select the next device. So download first individual address. So ETS will then ask me to press the programming button. You cannot see it, it's not complete here, but here it is. Please press programming button. And well, I'll do that. And then ETS will set the individual address of the device. So physical address programming is finished. Now I can download the application. And this is also done. That means, again, a full download actually includes the download of the individual address plus the download of the application. And actually now any additional modification can be done via the partial download. So okay, let's have a look what the effect of this will be. So obviously we can here now switch on the lamps, switch on and off, but we cannot dim, which is to be expected. There's no effect here for dimming. If I do a long push, there is no effect for that, which is quite normal because, and this, by the way, you can also check via diagnostics. So you can start the monitor and you can see that, wait a moment, if I just push this a little bit aside, and you can see that indeed on-off information is exchanged here. So in the info field here, if I would try to do a long push, like I'm doing right now, then you will see there's nothing there on the bus because of the simple reason that the devices were not programmed for that. So I'll just also add that part. So select the devices again, then select the objects, dimming, and link them. So with yet a new address, 2. Okay, this is now done. That means if I now would program the push button, so I do that partial download as I explained before. You see also the telegrams in the monitor, of course. And now, well, let me first clear maybe that monitor. Now if I would do a long push, we will also see those telegrams. Let's check out. So I do a long push. And then indeed we see different type of information being exchanged. So here decrease, break. Of course the dimmer, the activator here doesn't react to these telegrams because the activator was not programmed yet. So I'll do that right now. Partial download. Okay. And then we will see that the device will react accordingly. I hear there something on the background. I'll just make sure everybody is muted. Okay, should be fine now. Okay, anyway, so I programmed also the activator now. So let's find out if there is reaction. And I think this is also clear on your screen, we can see indeed a dimming effect here. So dimming up, dimming down, because of long pushes, but you can also follow in the monitor, switch off, switch on, dim up, off, on, etc. So you have seen it's actually quite simple. We just need to make two links, and this is actually the minimal configuration for a dimmer. Okay, all right, then I'll illustrate you the next application, which is the blinds. So I'll just stop the monitor and close the project also. You want to create the house, why not? And I'll stop the environment because I need to load another one. So not the dimming, but the blinds. And then I'll open the project that goes with that. So blinds here. I'll make sure I have no group addresses here. So group addresses, just delete whatever is there. So that I have a fresh project, a fresh project with no group addresses. Good. So what's here? Well, we have a blinds activator. We have two push buttons with vertical rockers, which I will not use. I will use this one with the horizontal rockers. Because what is in the activator? Indeed, there is a move object and a step stop object, and I have this also in the push button. So also there, step stop and move. Good. Well, obviously, again, same thing. If I now manipulate these rockers, long pushes or whatever, nothing happens. Again, quite normal because these devices have not been programmed yet. So in order to make it work, same procedure as before. I just select the two devices in question and then make a link between the objects. Right. So here, this time I will make a link between the move objects. I just use the new feature in order to create indeed a new group address. Okay, and then we can see both are linked. I could obviously program the device to see what happens then. Yes, a full download because again, also here it's the first time, so I need to also set the individual address first. I can only do that by pressing the programming button. And just wait for a while, a little while. Okay, device is programmed, push button, same thing, same procedure, full download. And need to press the programming button also here. And then, yes, let's find out what happens in the installation now. So if I do a move, so a long push, I see the blinds indeed moving downwards, so very slowly, but I'm not able to stop this movement because indeed I didn't link the stop step objects. So I can move up again. So this is done by a long push, which I of course can also illustrate via the monitor. But I cannot stop it. You can see there are no telegrams for step stop, right? I see only telegrams for move. So here you see indeed data point type. So the type of information that is exchanged is indeed up down. In this case it was down, and if I do the opposite, then it will be up. Okay, good. Now, in order to make it complete, I'll need to also link the step-stop objects. So this is not the case right now. So I just link them here by means of yet another new group address, 002, yes. And also here, of course, the yeah, the configuration needs to be transferred into the device, loaded into the device. Devices need to be commissioned, yeah, all synonyms. And I can do that by means of a partial download, which are even visible in the monitor, as you can see. And also this device, also a partial download. Okay, let us clear that. And then see what happens if I try to step this, well, down, obviously. It's the only way I could illustrate right now. And indeed, there is here this step telegram that has been exchanged, and in the direction of increase. So another increase, another, and maybe one up, then it's indeed decrease, 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 and then one more, and it's completely up. If I move down, so I have a movement, I can then also now stop the movement and continue with stepping down or up, continue with the move by a long push, stop, moving up, also stop, move up, up, down, down. So you have this indeed completely under control. So now, as you can clearly see, this is indeed a fully operational blinds function. So also here, minimal two links are required. So one for move and one for step stop. Okay, then next application, next function is RTC. So also I'll just stop here at the monitor, close the project, and open the RTC ETS project that I have prepared. Of course, I need to have the environment as well, so that's what we can see here. So first of all, maybe about the RTC function here. So what we can see here is an activator that operates upon these valves. There is here the RTC, which is now in night mode. So or let's say, night mode, so not in comfort mode. And I can switch it to comfort mode by clicking this button here. And then it's indeed in day mode or comfort mode. Again, these are synonyms. I could increase the temperature, 22, 21, whatever. Let's lower it again, switch back to night mode, and also lower or high, or make the temperature higher there. In this field, what we see is the actual temperature, so the actual room temperature, and the LED here next to this is actually indicating what is required. When the LED is red, it means heat is required. I need heat in order to achieve, in order to reach the temperature that you have set. Yeah. Of course, at this very moment, these valves are closed, so there's no heat added to the room. That means that the temperature will just keep on dropping. So I'm at 12 here. If I want to increase the temperature, I would indeed need to open these valves. Without even programming the device, I could do that by means of the manual mode, which is here. So, and in that way, I can indeed add heat to the room. And you will see indeed the effect here, the temperature will increase. So 13, 14, and it will just go up. It will just go up and up. But of course, without control, that means if I now reach the 16 that I have asked, that is still fine, but it will continue heating up because there's no control. The RTC is not programmed yet, so therefore this valve is not closed. If I want to close it, I have to close it manually. and only then the temperature will then drop again. So obviously we can control the temperature in this way, but we need to do it ourselves. And of course what we want is that this happens automatically. And therefore we need 3 devices, and that is what we have here. So the heating activator having 2 objects for controlling valve 1 and valve 2. I have set this to 1 byte, or maybe I change that to 1 bit, right? That's what that was then according to the example that I have given in the slides before. And then we will see indeed that now valve 1 and valve 2 objects are actually 1-bit objects. So in order to open or close the valves. The RTC then has actually 2 objects as well. So, but here one is for comfort mode. So in order to activate the comfort mode, that's 1-bit information. And the so-called valve drive, or the command for the activator in order to open the valves. I need to change it here because it's set to 1 byte, and this will not work in this way. So I need to change the RTC mode for this device. So I will also use here binary. And then this fits. And then there's the push button. So left, right rocker. This I will simply use in order to control the day and night mode via this button. So I can do it from here, so by clicking this button, or from these buttons. Now, maybe I'll just start with that exercise, or that part of the exercise. So that is a link between the RTC and the push button. So I select those devices. Yeah, and then link the comfort mode with the left and the right rocker. In order to understand what the left and the right rocker will do, we maybe first need to look at the parameters of the push button. And here, very simple, actually, very straightforward. So the left rocker sends 0 and the right rocker sends a 1. Okay, let's keep it that way. It's fine. So now we understand the functionality behind the rockers. We can indeed use this. Good. So comfort mode, lift right rocker, linked with a new object 1. Okay, same problem as I had before. So maybe I should have done that before actually. Sorry, just delete the group addresses. Good. And now I can start all over again. Comfort mode, left rocker, right rocker, and link it with a new group address. Okay. So again, same principle as before. Devices need to be programmed. So full download for RTC. I see that people are asking questions in the chat box. I will answer those questions after the demonstration, so don't worry about it. I will explain it. But first, I'll focus on the demonstration itself. Yeah, first. All right. So this RTC is now programmed. I program then also the push button. Same thing. Full download. Okay. Okay, so that's done. Then we can see that indeed by clicking these rockers, I can indeed manipulate via this sensor now the day and night mode. Again, there are 2 possibilities. Either I do it from the device itself or via these rockers from the sensor. Then Still in manual mode, I see, so I switch that off. Then I'll need to create the missing link. There's one link that I need to create, and that is the link between the heating actuator and the RTC. So I could also, okay, let's do this in such a way that I will involve indeed both valves. I could also opt for one, but it will just be a bit slower then. I mean, in order to control the temperature, and this needs to be linked with the valve drive of the RTC. So that means if the RTC thinks, or let's say defines, so according to its internal algorithm, so which is quite simple. If the comfort temperature or the temperature that is set in its set point, if that temperature is not reached, well, then the RTC will give the command to the actuator, to the heating actuator, in order to add heat, to the room, and it will do so by indeed. So the actuator, I mean, it will do so by manipulating these valves. So simple. Objects are selected. I link them with yet another group address 002. Fine. Okay. If I then download this configuration, I need to do a full download of the heating actuator because that device was not programmed yet. Press programming button. Yes, of course. Good. And then we just wait a while. Okay, seems to work. And then for the RTC, well, there I just need to do a partial download because this device was programmed before. So partial download. And then we should see some effect in the installation. So example given. Yes, we see that the valves are now opened automatically. So currently we have a temperature of 12 degrees Celsius in the room. It had just increased to 14 now, and now the valves are closed because this 15 here, so in night mode, the temperature or the set point of the night mode is 15 and was reached. It's reached again, so therefore the valves were closed, are opened again because the temperature dropped. Right, so I can also increase this, let's say 16. So now it will only stop when the temperature reaches 16, when the temperature in the room reaches 16. So now it's 14, now it's 15, and at 16 it will stop, right? If I now change the temperature or the mode of the RTC to comfort mode, then of course the temperature will be arranged against this set point, so 21. So let's see and wait and see what happens now. So 20, and at 21 indeed it stops. Of course, if I change the set point 23, it will just go until 23. And the valves are again closed. I can also, of course, make the temperature drop. We just need to wait a while. So 22. So nothing needs to be done. It will just cool by itself. It's a heating system and not an air conditioning system. By the way, with an air conditioning system, the same principle would apply. But then, of course, by distracting heat from the room. So here we have seen it. It's 19 degrees, and it will just stop again at 20 when enough heat is there in order to reach that temperature. Well, I guess this is clear, right? So it's actually quite straightforward principle that is applied here, and it is based on just actually two objects. Okay, so that was actually the last part of my demonstration.